cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna leave. I'ma get right. Get right. Down to the bottom and scratch it for all the...
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up everybody? It's Marcus Grant.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I gotta give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
You're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
But I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go and roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down, cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right, cause I roll my sleeves.
What up? What up? What up, world? We're back. This is Get Right Fantasy Network here. Wednesday night, we're doing the buy, sell, trade show. What's up, Anthony? How we doing tonight?
What's up? Dude, you killed that intro. That was fire. That got me hyped, man. I'm excited,
that's
dude.
You gotta do. What you gotta make.
One of the last trade shows of the year, Rasta Management, man.
Right.
Let's get it going, man. It's the playoff edition. We're getting there, man. I'm excited. Let's go.
Yeah, we're just literally on the edge of the playoffs here, right? Coming up. That's exciting. How many leagues are you getting there, you think?
Interestingly enough, I think there's only like 3 out of my 18 leagues that I'm pretty much out. But the other 15, I'm like at least 7th place or better, including
Nice.
one still undefeated team in our Get Right Fantasy Dynasty League. So I am undefeated there. The Trust the Process team, shout out. And yeah, I just took down Tycoon, actually, the number 2 team. So it was a battle of the Titans. I took down the number 2, number 3 team back-to-back weeks. Classic Mike last week and Tycoon this week. So it was been a nice 2 weeks. Yeah, but I'm pretty much going to lose this week. So everyone's on a bye on my team. Yeah, I got Chase, bro.
You got to dust your shoulders off real quick
tough.
on that one. But yeah, I had a really excellent week last week. One game was like all green, like you're gonna win, and then like everybody just like shit the bed. And I was like, what happened? But it was like just one out of like the 6 that I'm in or whatever, so it was not so bad. I was like, what happened there? But this week I'm playing against Steve, and he's like you. He's literally, I looked at his lineup and his bench, and like they're all on a bye. I was like, you can't replace this many guys.
Yeah.
So
I literally have one team where every single person on my bench right now is on a bye.
Wow.
Yeah, all 6 players are on a bye, like not out or injured, nothing,
Yeah,
just
this
all
is
bye week.
not a
Yeah. I mean, luckily I was able to put a starting lineup in there, but everyone else is on a bye. It worked out just perfectly. So
Nice.
yeah, but
So
I'll be
let's
on the
get this
waiver wire
started here,
next
though.
week because I need some of those guys back.
Yeah.
Some of those guys I dropped, I'm trying to get back.
I dropped the guy I didn't want to drop, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do. You
Rough
can't
times, man.
You can't keep taking L's right here. It's crunch time. It's
Yeah.
too late for that.
It was a little easier though. It was like, hey, it's playoff time. My other guys are basically past their bye. We, knock on wood, haven't had a big time running back go down lately. It's been kind of interesting, but you know it's coming, man. Right before the playoffs, you think you're good. So just make sure you're prepared. And that's what we're here for right now.
Flat tire, right?
Yeah. We're not wishing that on anybody.
Let's do this. Dude, doing the buy low, sell high roster management show, right? We're doing the Thursday night sit start. We're going to over some injury news and notes updates here. Anthony and I will give you top 3 targets that we're looking to buy and sell. So we're going to do just some quick takes as well, just on the buy, sell, hold type thing, how we feel about certain players. And then obviously we always do our live Q&A at the end of the show here to finish out the show, actually, really. So, get your questions in, your trade talks, whatever you got going on, let us know. Let's check it out. Let's see what's coming out there, what's what everybody's looking at. So what do we got going on this weekend?
Yeah, man. So just anyone here new to the channel, the Get Right Fantasy Network here, we are on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and Sunday mornings. Mondays, we're doing waiver wires. Wednesday, we do buy, sell, trade talk. And then Fridays is our start sit. We actually split it up into 2 different live shows so we can get to more of your questions. We have an early show at 6 p.m. Pacific, and that's 9 p.m. Eastern for you East Coast folks. And then Phil and myself are back here on at 8 p.m. which is what 11 o'clock p.m. over there on the East Coast for you late nighters, those here on the West Coast. So again, we try to get to as many questions as we can. We have other affiliate channels here with Get Right Fantasy Network, so help support our boy Tycoon over on the Fantasy Boardroom. He's on Tuesdays. We have our boy Phil Ruskin here with the Extra Point on Wednesdays and Thursdays. He's dynasty focused on Wednesdays, and then on Thursdays he does his prop bets and DFS plays, so we get some of that type of content for you. Our guy Kendall with the Fantasy Football Tavern, he'll drop live content on his channel, so make sure you guys get into the descriptions there. And then on Saturdays live now we have the Sweet Life Pod with Jack and Cody, so not so much a fantasy show, more like a prop. They talk about a lot of betting and just kind of football in general, just kind of open talk. They do play fantasy, of course, too, so let's still take your fantasy questions on Saturday mornings. So yeah, man, we got live shows, man, 7 days a week, always here to take your questions. Yeah, man, it's been an exciting year, man, as we continue to grow. So hit that like and subscribe button for us, man, and throw us a super chat if you will too.
Yeah, exactly. You got to hit that like, subscribe. All the links are in the description here to go over to the Get Right Fantasy Network. Go check out, our sleeper channel. Connect with us. Send us your teams, send us your chats. We have what do they call them at? Just different links that are ready for just content, right? For you asking about your team and your lineups and or your trades, right?
Oh yeah. So you can go to like our website, getrightff.com. You can drop us a chat there in the little chat box and we'll get that. You can find us on Sleeper, on Twitter. Just add us, man, on any of these platforms, and we're here for you, man. And yeah, let's dive into the show.
Nice. So yeah, let's start off with really just get busy, man. We're gonna do time to roll the sleeves up real quick. Oh, they got it kind of ready,
There it is, man. I roll them up, man. But it's cold over here now, man. It's like it got down from 95 to 91 now. I'm like freezing, dude. I gotta put
freezing.
put the hoodie on. It's cold over here now, man.
That's funny.
All right, let's do it, man. Thursday night football.
Thursday night football. Who do we got? The Steelers here against the Browns. Steelers 8-2, Browns 2-8. The Steelers are at under 3.5 points. The over under on it is 37. So
not too
yeah, not too bad. Yeah, and it's going to be a slow game. I mean, because we're looking at this game time weather here at 39 degrees, and then we got light snow, some decent chance of some rain and snow mix, but at least the wind's fairly low at about 12 miles per hour. So it's doable, yeah. But it'll be cool. Nice snow game, cold, bad conditions. I think that kind of helps even out the playing field sometimes. You know what I mean?
About that time, man. Football's about to get ugly now, man. It's about to get grimy. It's about to get grimy. So let's go, man. Let's talk about some of these players. In this one, I mean, it's kind of easy. You're pretty much kind of sitting a lot of the Browns in this game. I don't like this matchup against the Steelers defense. We just saw what they did against one of the most, top producing offenses and potentially the, MVP here in Lamar Jackson last week, turned that into a field goal fest. So I don't expect the Browns to do much here. But again, with 6 teams on a bye this week, I mean, we have, just a ton of guys out. So, are you feeling like you need to get either Russ or Winston in your lineup here? I mean, we got Atlanta, Buffalo, Cincy, Jacksonville, New Orleans, the Jets. So that's, Rodgers, Carr, Lawrence, Burrow, Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins, like these guys are all gone. So where do you have these guys kind of ranked? Like, are they starts or sits for you here in 1 QB leagues?
I think at this point, you take your chances with Russ. He had a couple games there where he was cooking, but it is a cold game, snow game, and a bad situation. But they are going against a pretty decent defense in the Browns, I believe here, and then Jameis Winston as well. I mean, he had a pretty decent game last outing. So I mean, at this point, with all these bye weeks, I mean, it's not the best start, but maybe that's who's available on the wire. I mean, Jameis Winston did complete 30 of 46 passes, 395 yards and 2 touchdowns. But like Anthony said, he's playing the Steelers defense. He just crushed. Who was it again? I'm sorry, I forgot who was.
Which one?
The last Steelers team that they played against.
Oh, Baltimore,
but which is just like a shootout with them, anyways. You know what I mean? Because Baltimore's defense is not what it was, honestly. Anyways,
yeah.
Point being is I mean, it's not going to be the best weather game, but I mean, at this point, Jameis Winston did put up some decent numbers. It's going to be nasty. Maybe you get some garbage time stuff with this. So and obviously, like we're talking about, these buys are here, and maybe you don't have a choice, and you do have to look at these two guys on a Thursday, and it's obviously the early game, so it's kind of a hard decision, right? You don't have
Yeah.
Sunday to wait to see what's going on, but I think that you have to go with what you got in some of these, and I wouldn't mind starting James. I think I'd probably maybe start Jameis over Russ.
Ooh, yeah, I couldn't do that, man. I mean, the
No.
Steelers here are second best against the quarterbacks, only allowing 13.1 and a 6 point per passing touchdown to the quarterback position. And so the only team better than that is the Bears right now. The Browns are 12th best, so they're kind of in that upper half, so to speak, or they're it's not great, but it's not terrible. So yeah, I mean, I personally would have Russ over Winston. But I mean, Winston can, throw it 40, 50 times, that's
Yeah.
just the
Volume,
nature of
right?
what could happen there. So yeah. But yeah, no, so good stuff. So that's the quarterback room there. What are we thinking here about the running backs? I mean, I have Najee kind of as a must start here. Just again with all the teams on bye, I think he's going to be at least an RB2 for you here this week, if not an RB1. Some places I wouldn't mind him being my RB2 at this point. But what are you thinking about Warren, who's had some increase of playing time here as well? He's kind of maybe getting to the point where he's getting, kind of like those 8-9 points in a full PPR, low end flex type play is kind of where I have him. But how do you feel about these guys on the Pittsburgh side against this Cleveland defense?
I think I'm pretty happy with just starting Najee. I'm not sure about Warren. I know that he's had like you're saying some looks and this and that. I just wouldn't rely on it. That's a low end RB3 type number. You know what I mean? Flex at best. But Najee for sure start. On the other hand, with Ford and Chubb, I'm not sure I could start. Trust either one of those guys. Not great numbers lately, and it's just not working out. You know what I mean? Like that's not what their MO is at right now. I think that obviously the passing game, like you mentioned, Jameis had 30, 40 licks or whatever. That's what's going on over there. So I would just not stay away from either Chubb or Ford, and definitely start Najee.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that way as well too. Although Ford, again, if you need to throw him in for a flex, just because they could, be behind in this game if Winston, turns it over a little bit, sack, strip, fumble by, the Watt brother there, and I mean, it could turn over that quickly, but yeah. So I'm right there with you. Pickens, I think, is a must start in this one. I think Njoku could, find some usage here in this type of game, with maybe some play action, across the middle there. He seems like a pretty safe play just at the tight end position. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe I could find myself starting like Disley ahead of him, maybe if you wanted to kind of take that stance. But I still have Njoku probably within my top 7 or 8 when the dust settles tomorrow. What are we thinking about this Cleveland wide receiver core, though? You got Judy, Moore, Tillman over the last 3-4 weeks here with Winston, kind of maybe 2 or 1 or 2 of them would kind of go off and one is kind of left behind, but they all kind of share a lot of targets because of the attempts that Winston has had.
Yeah.
But again, this Steelers defense is not
Tough.
giving up points to the running back or to the wide receivers here. So, what are we thinking here? I mean, I kind of have them as sits.
I'm thinking Judy, maybe give it a go. The other guys, yeah, I would sit Moore and Tillman, but Judy had a pretty decent game. I even have him as a buy. I think later on I'm going to be talking about him. So
Okay.
just looking at his numbers, he had 6 passes, 142 yards, and he had that breakout 89-yard touchdown. And this is his first 100-yard game since 2023. So it could be a revival for Jerry Judy. I know it's a bad matchup, but sometimes you show up for the game and still have decent numbers. It doesn't have to be
Mhm.
142 yards, but I think 85 yards on the TD is possible.
Yeah, I mean that could happen, and you like how they're kind of using him as well too. He's lined up out wide. about twice as many times as he's lined up in this slot, but he has still seen over 200 snaps in the slot compared to 400 over just over 400 out wide. So maybe that can design some stuff for him and get him open. So
Nice.
yeah, so good stuff there. Yeah, but for the most part, if I can avoid it, but yeah, I mean, again, it's dire times. There's a lot of
Yeah.
wide
There's
receivers
just
who aren't there. So
so many guys on
yeah,
by. You got to start somebody.
some of the lineups I got going on here, man, is like, yeah, it's hard to give the advice, and then you're looking at your own team, like, yeah, that's rough. Yeah, sometimes there's not anyone better out there, so they're not terrible. Again, they're not terrible options. But if you have better, then of course you can go there. Speaking of which, though, like I'm starting those guys over Mike Williams and Van Jefferson. So, hopefully we're not digging that deep. If we need to, I'd be happy to
That's
start
crazy.
Judy Moore or Tillman over Mike Williams or Jefferson. So, yeah,
sure.
Pickens is the only guy. How do you feel though about Fairmouth? Again, he hasn't really popped off too much, but as a potential, second target there. Since we're not feeling these other wide receivers, you think there's an opportunity for Fairmouth?
He could always just get lucky. That's what you know what I mean. At the end of the day, he got 2 targets for 14 yards in the last game. It hasn't really been like a factor really lately. You know what I mean? Not high targets has been literally 3 to 4 targets. Literally, it's probably an average of 3 in a game. So I mean, you can't really get too much production with those low of numbers, right?
Mhm.
And if he was getting targeted more, and having more opportunities, then I'd feel safer on starting him. But I mean, you could luck into something, but I wouldn't feel comfortable starting him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I kind of have him down there as well too. So, that pretty much kind of wraps up that game there. I mean, probably real easy to just kind of say, sit, most of the Browns unless you're in dire straits, and pretty confident in Pickens, Najee, and I feel okay with Russ. But yeah, the weather's a little worrisome. Again, as long as that wind doesn't pick up, rain, snow's not too bad. It's the wind that usually affects fantasy as
Yeah,
far as weather goes more than
don't
anything
have that ball
outside of
salmon
like
weather
the
that these
kicking
days.
game. Yeah, that could be a little hit or miss. So just no pun intended, but yeah. All right. So let's move on, man. So let's get into some of our news topics here. And we see you guys here in the chat.
Yeah, hit
Kish was
us up, man.
saying, yeah, Judy's still a safe start with the hard matchup. So we kind of talked about that. So hopefully
Yeah.
we answered you there, Kish. If you have any additional questions on that or want some clarification, just let us know. And we got Joe hanging out again, man. So what's up, man, from the third shift
Third
overnight?
shift. That's what's
Yeah,
up.
see, it's nice, man. We got these late night live shows. Not too many people do them. They always do them in the prime time hours, but yeah, man, it's nice to be here late for
We
some
got
people.
jobs and
And
lives we got to do, man.
yeah, and so we get to come hang out with you guys while they're working, and they get to still enjoy some live shows. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Tell your friends and hit that like and subscribe button for us. But I know these guys are. We've seen them there. So yeah, he's saying thanks. All right, so let's get into these news topics here. We have just a couple of them. Some a lot of good news actually here on the injury front. Not too bad, not too long. So let's get through it here. Isaiah Pacheco, man, haven't been able to talk about him much. He's
Right, he's been
was
out in the weeds.
activated back. They opened up his 21-day practice window. We've heard that he's been cleared medically, and basically it's kind of going to be up to the coaches to decide if he'll be active. And they're just going to kind of watch him and see how he does and responds, throughout practice. I doubt he's going to come back in and get 30 carries. But how you feeling about Isaiah Pacheco coming back into the lineup? I mean, at least it's week 12, so we're going to get a couple games here potentially
Yeah,
before you have to make the decision heading into your fantasy playoffs.
I think you just got to wait and see. Like you're saying, they're not going to give him a lot of touches. Hunt's doing all right over there, and I think that hopefully maybe he's better for the playoffs, fantasy playoffs, right? And have an opportunity to them to see him a couple weeks, and then then you'll be able to have more of a decision, easier uh, look at him because it's not just about his health; it's also about his opportunity at this time. Like, is he's going to get the full workload, or is he going to start sharing some touches? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they might actually do that because then obviously it'll keep him fresher and whatever. You know what I mean? Like that kind
Right.
of type thing. A lot of teams go to right to running back by committee, and that, deservedly so did a good job and been holding it down over there. So um, yeah, I'm just gonna wait and see. I have Pacheco. I'm happy that he's gonna be come back soon. But I'm not sure if I want to start him right off the bat in the first game and expect the same numbers he was giving you before.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with a lot of you said with what you said there. So yeah, so we'll move on here to news about Bucks wide receiver Mike Evans. So he has finally returned to practice, and everything's saying basically he's going to make his official return against the New York Giants this week. He's missed the last 3 games with that hamstring injury, and of course they had the bye in there as well too. So he's basically a month removed from that time that we thought he was. I mean, that if you would have told me based on how we saw Dak react to his injury versus Mike Evans, you totally would have thought the results would have been completely opposite, right? Like Evan should have been the one going in for season-ending surgery, and we thought it was Dak's hand that was all messed up.
Yeah.
Not trying to rub salt and open wound there, Frank. You know when I'm really trying to talk mess. That was just more analyst than anything.
Yeah, no, I know.
But I realized as I was coming out, I was like, oh man, it's kind of
I knew what you were
digging in
saying.
a little
I
bit.
understand where you're coming from. What you're
All right,
trying
cool. So
the point you're making here.
Okay, good. But yeah, so either way, so he's back, man. I'm excited, as you can tell. Have him in our big home league, man, where I'm decimated at wide receiver. I was starting guys like QJ last week, still pulling out W's somehow, thanks to your boy Taysom Hill, after talking about him last week. And yeah, man. So how you feeling about Mike Evans? Even Scott in here says, where do you kind of have him ranked here this week? Are you ranking him a little lower? Do you want to, ease him in, or you think it's, a month out and he's going to be, trying to get that 1,000 yards?
I think he's a month out, like you're saying. He's back and healthy. If he feels like he's playing, he could run it out, man. I would start him. Just because we used to have him and Godwin like back to back half the time or whatever. Godwin maybe a little bit edge sometimes. I would just keep him in the same range. I think he's going to produce just well, and he's going against the New York Giants. What an easy layup to have, right?
Yeah, not a bad game to kind of come back and just knock off the rest, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think the big thing again, we all hear that his 1,000-yard season, the consecutive 1,000-yard seasons is a big deal to him. He still has it within reach. I think he needs to average just under 100 yards. I think like 95 or so yards a game for the remaining games to hit that 1,000-yard mark. So I think Baker's going to try to help him get there. Not only that, I mean, it's just the smart move to get the ball in this man's hands when you can anyway. So, and obviously none of these rookie wide receivers, Palmer or, who's the other guy, Sterling Shepard or McClellan, what's his name? I'm talking about the other rookie guy. McLean or something like that. I don't know. McMillan. There you go. Jalen McMillan. It was on the tip of the tongue. But yeah, so they haven't done anything. So without any Godwin, like we could see Mike Evans. I have him out the way as actually my wide receiver 7 right now in my preliminary rankings this week. It's hard to put anybody else in front of him. I mean, again, 6 teams on bye, like, Garrett Wilson, all these, Drake London, like there's a lot of guys on bye that are usually kind of up there, but even with those guys in, I'd still have them ahead. But yeah, I'm feeling good about Mike Evans. Welcome back.
It'll make me have to go check where did I put him
at? You better change your rankings, my guy. You're gonna be up there. All right. So another news here. If there's anything else you want to say about Mike, just let me know. We'll talk about him throughout the show. I will definitely talk about him later. Actually, he's on my buy list. If you can't tell, Panther said
PPR.
Oh, okay.
Full PPR. What does it say? Yeah, we're about the same here. No, not even lower in full PPR. I don't know.
I think he gets 2 touchdowns this game coming back, and he's going to get 2 touchdowns.
That's
why
blow it
that's the touchdowns.
Hey, but see, I was the one that turned you guys onto Mike Evans. Remember a while back, I was like, "No, this dude's like been putting up solid numbers for like day one, quarterback proof, whatnot," and he keeps does it. He keeps doing it. That's why getting those 1,000 yards is important to him because he knows what he's got going. You know what I mean? Like
for sure.
So yeah.
There you go. All right, so moving on, we'll move on to next topic.
This guy's question: where do you guys have Mike Evans right there?
Yeah, exactly. From Scott. So Panthers head coach Dave Canales said he wants to see Jonathan Brooks play confident and play fast. He says looks like he will make his debut here against the Chiefs. So whereas Mike Evans comes back and gets the Giants, good old Jonathan Brooks comes back and gets the Chiefs, the number one rushing defense. So it's saying he will play behind Chuba. So maybe that means 5 to 8 touches or so is kind of what I would expect. But yeah, I mean, it's I'm excited to see. I mean, it's one of the top rookie, the number one running back, drafted. We at least in fantasy, I'm pretty sure he was overall draft too. But yeah, I mean, we haven't even seen him play yet. So
crazy, right?
Where's he going to come in?
Yeah. Luckily, I have him because you could just hold him in the IR spot. Now it's like showtime.
You better do something, or else he's going to be on the waiver wire real quick.
Exactly. You better do something. You better show me something.
We need to see some
flash. I'll be watching that game for sure.
Does
this guy work? Yeah, exactly. Is he going to pass the eye test or not?
Yeah, even if it's not going to be a box score game. Yeah, it's not going to be a box score.
Touches, yeah, just the few that you need to see and be like, all right, that looks all right.
I just need to see some explosion there. It's like you said, some confidence and see him playing fast. So we'll all be watching, man. It's going to be exciting here in week 12, man. And then lastly here, a little nugget. Mike McCarthy came out today and said Cooper Rush will remain the starter this week, but saying there will be packages for Trey Lance here this week. So do you think this is kind of the bridge and the setup to eventually maybe by the end of the week then just saying, oh, it's going to be Trey Lance, and maybe they're just not trying to put too much pressure on him, right away, kind of let him go through practice and then kind of make the announcement late in the week? Because honestly, I don't see why the Cowboys aren't playing Trey Lance. Like, see what you got in him. Like, Cooper Rush, like that dude's not going to be a starting quarterback. I'm sorry. I'm not a GM. I'm not a scout. I could tell you that from my couch. Like, these guys have to see it. So see what happens with Trey Lance. So, I think we lost your audio. Hey, let us know in the chat if you can hear Frank right now. I think we lost your audio. Okay, so it's him and not me. Okay. Yeah, right when Nicholas says keep up the great work, then we can't hear Frank. So it looks like he might have got excited and pulled out a cord. If you need to go out and go back, oh, there you are. You're back. Man, I you were going on a nice take there. That's why I was trying to get you to get plugged back in. But yeah, so let us know. Yeah, I can hear you now. I'm good. Can you hear me? Oh, so he's still working that out. Sorry, guys.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you now, though.
Oh, well, I can hear you. It's like we got peanut butter, no jelly, and ham, no burger going on over here. So, so if you guys got any questions, man, drop them in the chat. Let us know where you're at. I want to get his take on his Cowboys, his beloved Cowboys, before we get on here too. So we have Sam in here saying, what do you think about starting Pollard this week? Is Spears out? So Spears dealing with that concussion for the most part. I think the only person who came back and played the next week after a concussion was Drake May. May be mistaken. Maybe there's a defensive guy or something like that. But as far as fantasy relevant guys, he's the only one that I can think of that actually came back after, being cleared from the concussion protocol in 1 week. So I think with Pollard here, let's see. Tennessee's going up against the Texans. The Texans are decent against the run. They are at, they're a little more than decent. They're pretty good against the run. They're 28th, only allowing 17.9 PPR points to the position. So it might be a tough start, but again, with 6 teams on bye, you might be forced to kind of put Pollard in there. There could be a lot worse options out there. So Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind rolling him out this week just because you have a guy. It would really just depend on who you're choosing to start over him. So let me know, and we'll get to your question. So Frank, you back here with us?
Can you hear me now? Am I bet good?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
hear you.
I'm good. I think we're good.
All right.
All right, we're good. All right, so I want to go roll it back here. I wanted to get your take because we didn't get any of your take here about the Cowboys and Trey Lance. So I'll set you up for that again.
Shoot.
We were just talking about him being the starter, and
Yes.
why
Sure.
aren't they working Trey Lance in? So what are your thoughts about that?
So my thoughts is that I agree with you. Why not try him out and see what you got? As you mentioned, you know what you got in Cooper Rush a couple years back when Dak did get hurt. He did have a good spell a couple games, and that's why I think they look at him as the second guy or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, because they've seen what he's had, and he's done okay in the past. For whatever reason, our injuries, both the offensive line and defensive line, are just obviously too much. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so why not take a look at Trey Lance? Let's see if he, sparks the team up and something happens. Worst case scenario, you lose another game, which we're already losing anyways. We haven't even won a game at home, so um,
Right.
you gotta
I heard
you gotta
that
go for broke.
Jake Paul's won more in that stadium than the Cowboys have this year.
Yeah,
it's a joke I
terrible.
heard earlier. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
kind
that's
of funny.
terrible, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
really? Come on.
That's terrible. That's terrible. All right, that was a dig, though.
Yeah,
That was a dig. All right, so good stuff, man. Yeah, of course, I have mixed feelings about it. We want to say that we saw the talent, we just couldn't wait for it, right? Like that's the Niners' only last saving grace that
yeah,
we could say about Trey Lance if he ends up working out for you guys. But how brutal would that be? Wouldn't it be just icing on the cake if Trey Lance was the one eventually, maybe in 2 or 3 years, and we met in the NFC Championship and you guys beat us to go on to the Super Bowl for the first time in however long, and it was Trey Lance that ends up doing it, right? That'd be kind of a cool
that'd
story
be
for him.
just kismet. Let's make that happen.
He's like, yeah, that sounds real good, right? All right, that's probably the best thing this is the best thing I'm ever going to say about the Cowboys ever. So yeah,
No,
I
just
can
be
take all
crazy if
that
that
back.
anything happens. Yeah,
Right? Yeah, it's like, hey, NFL script, man, hit me up. I got some good stuff. All right,
right,
so you want to get just into
right.
those were kind of the topics I wanted to kind of spend a
Yeah.
little time on. But why don't you get everybody else updated on the other injuries and stuff going on around the league,
Let's
which
get
isn't
some
too bad.
let's get some quick notes here. 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey got some rest due to the Achilles, did not practice, which is probably normal for him at this point
Planned.
because
Yeah.
they're just making sure they take caution with him. You know what I mean? Bears running back DeAndre Swift groin limited, so again, got to keep an eye on his practice going on. Neither
Roshan
Raiders,
Johnson.
yeah, exactly, right. Bring in some Roshan. Neither Raiders running back Alexander Madison or with an ankle injury and Zamir White with a quad did not practice. Alexander has been leading over there, so you want to keep an eye on that as well.
I think it's a high ankle with Madison. Just real quick, I think it's a high ankle with Madison, so I think he's the one less likely to play. Zamir White, it's going to be interesting, and if not, that's why we talked. You weren't here on Monday, but Amir Abdullah is one of the guys you might be looking out for, and even possibly Dylan Laube, but he's only had one carry in the league for fumble. So yeah,
Yeah,
he
don't do
hasn't seen the field again. Yeah, one catch, one fumble, or one carry, one fumble. It's not a good stat to have as a running back.
There's got to be somebody else out there. Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb shoulders still limited. He injured that shoulder, like 2 weeks ago.
games ago,
So, just there's just a
It's
rest day for him,
Wednesday.
really.
It's
Yeah,
Wednesday.
exactly.
Yeah,
The Eagles wide receiver Devontae Smith hamstring also did not practice. He
he's
did
been
that.
playing.
Yeah,
He's
he's been playing, but it's been
not good, but he's been
yeah,
playing.
that's because of this lingering injury.
I
You know
think
what I mean?
so.
Like
Yeah.
sometimes it just kind of hampers you, basically.
Might be
Chargers wide
mentioning that later on in the show. Go ahead.
Okay, there you go. Chargers wide receiver Lad McConkey, shoulder left the game, returned and he put up a 100-yard game. Most likely a rest day. So he has been balling over there with the Chargers. The Chargers there and been having a resurgence there, man. Like they're looking good.
You could
Uh,
argue you might want to take him over like Odunze if we redrafted the rookie draft again, man.
right?
Just for redraft
It's kind of
purposes.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I got a couple of him in the Dynasty and stuff like that. Not
nice.
Dynasty, best ball stuff.
Oh, there you
When
go.
I was drafted him. Uh, Panthers wide receiver Adam Thielen has been cleared to play. He's back in the team drills for the first time in 8 weeks. So
Leave him there. Leave him on the
yeah,
benches.
exactly. There's nothing to go after on that guy. 49ers tight end George Kittle hamstring also limited. He did
He was
not
close
play.
to coming. Yeah, he didn't
Yeah,
play, but he was close. They said it was close.
so let's see how he keep monitoring that because it has a good matchup been basically a top tight end. So let's see what happens with him. Lions head coach Dan Campbell said he feels good about Laporta's shoulder this Sunday. Said it's trending the right way. Practice full today. I seen the practice full today. I put him right back in my lineup. Because of that, I think that if the gets a couple full practice, especially this early in the week, we should be good to go for the weekend. The Cowboys tight end Jake Ferguson got a concussion there, and just with the time frame and being a short week to play on Sunday is probably not going to happen. We picked up Shoemaker in this place, so take a look at him. They did get a lot of touches. Let's see what happens. I mean, he gets a lot of licks, and a lot of check downs because they're just rushing right into the quarterback over there in Dallas. It's like porous offensive line. 3 guys go down in one week, so
that's
the rough.
That's
You know what I mean?
crazy.
So yeah. So yeah, those are the quick reads here that we got going on.
All in
tell
all,
us
though,
this-
not too bad.
right. Overall, not too bad. Yeah,
You
exactly.
remember when like
we were-
week 4 or something, it was like 4 pages long.
Decimation,
Like,
yes.
It's crazy.
Decimation of this guy, that guy, out for the seasons, real quick. A couple of
Ugh,
those.
It
So
was
yeah.
brutal.
So who's sponsoring this program, man? What do we got? We got to pay some bills. Right?
For sure. Let's get into it, man. You guys know Underdog is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. For those who don't know, of course, we enjoy doing their best ball tournaments. We live stream them here all off season. And for those who don't know what best ball is, basically you draft your team in the summer. And it's no waivers, no trades, no lineup settings. So it's just kind of like a drafting type tournament. And they're a lot of fun. So make sure you guys go check them out. You can literally draft hundreds of teams because it's not going to replace your managed leagues. But what we like is it really kind of helps us prepare and understand the values and ADP for your heading into your regular home drafts. Once the season starts, though, we love doing those pick 'em contests where you just basically pick higher or lower on player stats like rushing or receiving or touchdowns. Use that promo code Get Right when you sign up in your app store. And receive a 50% deposit match up to $1,000 in bonus cash. And when you do that right now, they do have a special pick 'em, which is going to be plus or minus a half a yard, which is this Thursday is going to be Jameis Winston. So you'll see that in there if you sign up using that promo code Get Right and help support the show.
Nice.
We appreciate it.
This. Give us a try.
Awesome.
Help us out, man. It's
Let's
a lot
do
of
it.
fun. Go check it out. So what do we got here coming up now?
I think it's time to talk trades.
Top targets, top trades. What we're looking at here,
Let's do it, man. We got a banner for it. Roll it out.
right?
roll them up. Roll them up. Let's go. Let's dig in. So who you got, man? Who's your give me your top 3 players, with the court, a lot of people's deadlines probably already passed. Hopefully when you extended your league, when they added this 18th game, hopefully you guys extended that bye week. Or extended that trade deadline. We see, bye weeks literally going all the way up until week 14. So personally, I like having you allowed to make trades all the way up until maybe like week 13 or 14, like right before playoffs, is what I prefer. The thing is you kind of have to have that unwritten rule that the players that are kind of out of the league, unless there's like a last place, punishment, they shouldn't be trading. So just a little PSA there. So with that said, Frank, who are your top 3 players to buy here at your trade deadline?
I'm glad you said that because I think I had an argument one time about that, and I just want to go back to that because I don't think we talk a lot about management, and I think that
we need to bring back Commissioner's Corner.
Yeah. You ever had questions on what's going on with your league's trades? Should they veto or not, or this happened or that happened? Because some funky things do happen in the season. So sometimes you got to check that coercion, make sure nothing's going crazy like that. But
collusion.
Yeah, but with that said, let us know, man. I think it's important to keep track of that and keep an eye on some certain situations. But yeah, my top 3 guys.
Drama. Yeah, let us know. All right, I'll reset it. I'll reset it for the timestamp. Frank, give me your top 3 players to buy low here in week 12 at the deadline.
So we're looking at top 3 guys here to buy low on this. Justin Herbert, quarterback, Chargers. Just the numbers he's been putting up. Last game, he was 17 of 36 with 297 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 5 carries for 65 yards. Did lose a fumble, but it's a nice win over the Bengals and the struggles that they've been having. But he's been putting up consistent numbers this year. 14 of 18 last week, basically a prior week, 18 to 27 the prior week before that for 282 yards. Really good numbers. They're coming out unexpectedly. Really, I think that a lot of people overlooked them this year, but they've been putting their numbers together. They just thought they had nothing there. They sold the bank, right? I mean, they got rid of everybody.
Mhm.
But they except for Justin, and it seems like they're working out for them. So I really like him. Um, I'm looking at tight end Zach Ertz here with Washington Commanders. I know it's not flashy or nothing, but I've picked him up a couple leagues. He's had 4 more receptions in 5 of the past 6 games. He's just been involved in the offense over there in Washington, getting you some decent numbers in and out, like a steady 80 numbers. And then I
You
think
could
we
be like one of
mentioned,
those pieces that you get like, oh, just throw in this guy too, and kind of maybe work that
yeah,
into a bigger trade.
exactly. Sweeten the deal here.
Mhm.
And then lastly, I got Jerry Judy with the Cleveland Browns here. 6 passes, 142 yards, including that 89-yard touchdown we were talking about earlier. And first time getting 100 yards a game in a while. I know, albeit a tough matchup coming up, but sometimes you just got to pick those guys up when you can, and then you can have better days ahead. Obviously, having them on your team, so maybe you can even buy low with the matchup they got coming up. But I think people are, they're hip to them. They'll start them, and see what's going on.
Good
Those are
stuff.
my guys. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. All right. So we'll move on here to my top 3 players I'm looking to buy. Maybe not necessarily low because you might not be able to buy low, but guys, I'm looking to buy right now. Probably number 1 on my list right now is probably going to be Brees Hall. I think he has one of the best, matchups, remaining strength of schedule after he comes off this week 12 bye. He gets Seattle, at Miami, at Jacksonville in the playoffs. Home against the Rams in the playoffs, and then at Buffalo's terrible against the run in your championship game. And so I like, going after Brees Hall if you can. I mean, his window probably shut after that 31-point game
Yeah.
last week. We've been telling you guys for weeks to go buy this guy low while you could. So maybe that window, has closed now. But if you have an opportunity, and I think the only reason why is because he is on a bye this week, and because of his kind of shortcomings early on, maybe the team with Brees Hall is struggling a little bit and needs somebody this week. So if you can, trade them someone, a James Conner and another piece or someone like that for someone who's playing this week, I would like, look to make an aggressive move like that. So Brees Hall is going to be my number 1 guy. My number 2 guy is going to be probably one of the first guys that I talked about on probably our first buy low segment. And I'm going right back to the well, man. Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh yeah.
Coming off week 11 bye. I like his schedule again against Seattle, at Minnesota, which is in a dome, home for 2 weeks against Seattle again, and then first week in the playoffs against New England, and then finishes off with at Carolina and then at the Rams in a dome, which could be a shootout potentially for the division, to go into the playoffs. And we know these rookies, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Christian Watson, Odell Beckham in his rookie year, like these guys all popped at the end of the year. And this could be an opportunity where, you can get him. He's kind of out of sight, out of mind. Again, he's coming off a 16-point game against the Jets in week 10, but only had 3 points prior to that against Chicago. Again, including a 0 when he got that concussion, back week 6 against Green Bay, and then only 5 points after that. So if you can go buy low on Marvin Harrison, this might be your last chance at the deadline to make a move for him if you can. So yeah. So that's my number 2. There you go. My number 3 guy, again, I don't know if you can now because it's probably too late with this one, was going to be Mike Evans. But, with that said, I'm going to actually go ahead and go with DK Metcalf. We mentioned again, you heard me say Seattle and a lot of these other matchups for these other guys I'm looking to buy. And again, he is coming off kind of his first almost missed games, of his career. He doesn't really miss games much, but comes back and gets a nice 7 for 70 against San Francisco. But if that owner's hurting right now, Metcalf has been one of those names that people aren't necessarily totally attached to. But the only thing that's tough about him is he has a week 17 matchup against Chicago. But if you need someone to maybe kind of carry you there into the playoffs, Metcalf can be the one to get you there. Again, just buyer beware because of that week 17 matchup, but that's why I have him at number 3. So those are my players to buy low. And you saw how I snuck in a fourth guy technically in there too.
Yeah, the Mike Evans a little talk.
Yeah, I gotta get the Mike Evans in there.
Nice.
Go get Mike Evans if you can. All right, man. So who are some guys you're looking to sell high this week?
Oh, I'm selling, man. Another one got sell for me is Anthony Richardson. He did have a decent game, completing 20 or 30 passes, 272 yards, and a score, while also rushing for 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, it was a good scoring game for him. But I just don't think he's going to continue that. It's been on and off. I mean, it could be the start of a good thing. And that's why some people will look at that and be like, all right, I want to get in on that. You know what I mean? I'm not sold on it. Um, I need to see more of it, but I think that that's what makes him a good opportunity. If you have him, you could sell him, get some, something decent out of it because his numbers haven't been good this year. He hasn't produced anything like he had last year. So he's coming up against Detroit next, New England, then a bye. So there's another bye coming up here. Then Denver, another tough defense. Then Tennessee, and then he does have an easy matchup against the Giants at week 17. But who knows if he's even playing it? And then I mean, they keep going back and forth with help me out, Joe Flacco, right? So it's like is he going to be able to hold down the job just because he had one good week? Doesn't mean it's going to continue. And I think that you could sell high on that position to get you something decent.
There you go.
We got another guy here. If you did pick him up, you had him. It's time to sell him. Wide receiver Ricky Pearsall, San Francisco 49ers. You know what I mean? He literally was only targeted twice on Sunday, 0 catches. And now with Jennings and Debo back and healthy, you just fallen from the wayside there. I don't think
it's supposed to be a sell high, Frank. Sell high. You're telling me a guy you're that hit nothing. I have nothing to sell there. What am I selling?
I'm just saying. I'm saying.
Sounds like a drop.
Yeah, I might have put him in the wrong spot, man. I think I did.
It's because you missed the Monday waiver show. You're still kind of you're half waiver, half trade
exactly.
process. But I mean, if you can sell someone, on the fact there, again, he could be a potential piece to throw in to even some stuff out. So you're just saying like if you can include him in a piece and someone wants him, then you're happy to ship him off based on what you've seen.
I'm ready to move on him. And another guy
Didn't pass the eye test. Eye test.
The last guy I got here is Christian Watson with Green Bay. And he had a decent game here this last game. We were both hyped on him in the beginning of the season. I don't think it's going to continue, with other guys that they got over there. I think Rita continued to get the looks. Eventually, just gameplay in there against Chicago. Another tough matchup coming up against San Francisco. So, if you could capitalize on that good game, maybe you could get a piece from somebody that needs a wide receiver for next week, or get, just looking to get somebody like that, and then you could get a running back. Or another, a good, decent running performing tight end. So those are the 3 guys I got on that. Yeah.
There you go. Good stuff. All right. So the top 3 guys I'm looking to sell right now, if I can. And again, these aren't necessarily guys I'm looking to just, throw off my roster, but maybe some guys I'm, looking to move on that might still have some value before maybe it goes down a lot, or people have been producing that maybe you can turn into some of the guys I was mentioning above, because some of those names I was mentioning above are going to take, people who've been putting up points. You're not, pulling any kind of, wool over a sheep or whatever the saying is. Sometimes you got to give a little to get a little. So one of the first guys, I want to talk about is CeeDee Lamb. You can talk about, the usage when, you mentioned it earlier, when Rush took over for Dak, when he had the ankle injury and, still produced, still did okay. And I believe that was his rookie year. And then we saw, him at least get, 9 for 91 or something like that against this game here. But, you see the look on his face. He looks so frustrated. He is dealing with this shoulder injury. You got to worry about, is he just going to shut it down, mentally, or literally are they going to just shut him down and not risk him, getting hurt anymore? They have the out if they want to. If they just continue to lose games, and then let alone if they turn over to Trey Lance. As a Niners fan, he wasn't really able to hit targets. I mean, again, he hasn't really had too much playing time, to see. So, and obviously he didn't get the job right away, and he's been practicing and showing him what he's had, in practice, and still wasn't even able to beat out Cooper Rush. So when you kind of put it that way, I know I was kind of talking him up earlier, but when you put all that together, it makes me want to kind of sell CD Lamb. He still has some value. He has had the production here in this last game. And so again, this might be one of those opportunities where you can trade him off and maybe go get somebody like, Tyrone Tracy, who I kind of had as an honorable mention for a buy, and another piece potentially. Maybe you can get Tyrone Tracy and Marvin Harrison Jr. for CD and some other, piece. I'd like to do something like that. Again, or maybe like CD for, Breece Hall. You might have to add a piece with CD, but you can at least get there because you at least have the name power with him. So he's one of them. My number 2 guy I'm going to go with here is going to be Quentin Johnston. I mean, he's put up some, decent numbers lately. He's scored, I think, 4 to the last 5 games. And again, not like, you got him off the waiver wire. So Frank, that I love just turning someone off the waiver wire. Even someone like Odell Beckham Jr. after he had a couple good games and, strung him off on his rookie year and ended up becoming a league winner. So you always run that, chance. And again, you're buying Herbert right now. So I assume you like his pass catchers, and one of his number 1 pass catchers has been Quentin Johnston. So, coming off 22 points against Cleveland, 10 points against Tennessee, 12.8 last week against Cincinnati. But that was only on 2 catches for 48 yards and a touchdown. And he still had 8 targets, which was his most targets in a game so far. And then they get Baltimore next this week here. So again, I'm not saying you want to just get this guy off your team. He looks, kind of usable here. But he does get Kansas City in week 14, which is going to be a tough matchup. Week 15 should be nice. But that week 16 in Denver could be tough if, Pat Surtain, he gets shadowed there. And then it should be pretty decent against New England as far as the matchup, but it's at New England, which is what's kind of tough, especially after they're going to be playing the last 2 weeks in a dome on the West Coast to go travel to New England in week 17 for a playoff game. That just might be a Jim Harbaugh run the ball type game. So again, just buyer beware. But if you can turn, again, especially with this matchup against Baltimore, it's going to be a shootout there, and that secondary can be beat. So he could have a good game after this, and you can again use him to maybe get into a package with Mike Evans, or include him and someone else to get a Breece Hall, or maybe just maybe not straight up, but not too much more to get like a Marvin Harrison, or DK Metcalf even, if you can pull something like that off. So or even a George Pickens. So that's was that just 2?
That's 3.
Was that all?
I don't mention with a couple. Well, we had CD Lamb.
Okay. I said Lamb
Johnson.
Okay, so that was just 2. The other name drops were just name drops. So my number 3 player that I'd like to sell high on here is going to be Calvin Ridley. So even he's coming off pretty good weeks, back starting since week 8, 22 points, 12 points, 25 points against the Chargers, which was a tough matchup. And then even put up 4 for 6 for 58 yards here against Minnesota this last week, which that's a tough, matchup as well there too. They get Houston, at Washington, Jacksonville, and then the playoffs is Cincinnati, at Indy, at Jacksonville. So if you do have Ridley, I mean, it's still nice matchups, but if you can parlay that again into some of the names I've again mentioned above, your Mike Evans, a package with Breece Hall or something like that, if you can turn him in a piece into one of those, type players, then that's someone I'd be looking to sell high on. So, so those are my top 3 guys to sell high: CD Lamb,
Nice.
Quentin Johnston, and Calvin Ridley.
I like those choices. I like those guys.
All right. I think that's it there. Let's see. Joe, we got your question here. We're just going to do a quick little buy low, or not buy low, but we're just going to do a quick buy, sell,
Buy low, sell
hold
high. Yeah.
segment here. We're just going to kind of run through some additional names here, and then we'll just give a quick take if we're buying, selling, or holding on these players. So let's get into a little buy, sell, hold here. And this is from the CBS Sports Fantasy Football Most Traded list, is where we're getting these names. So these are the guys that are kind of being traded most here in the leagues, at least on the CBS league. So we'll start with their number one players being traded right now. We didn't really talk too much about him here, but Kareem Hunt, he's been the most traded player here. Are you buying, selling, or holding Kareem Hunt with Isaiah Pacheco looming?
I think I would sell. Just try to get the value that you can out of them. As I was mentioned, I don't think that Isaiah Pacheco is going to be like taking his job day one, but I think it's going to take 2-3 games by the playoff time. You're not going to be able to rely on him. I think it's going to hopefully maybe go into a timeshare, which is not bad, but he's not going to be the guy that he was being in the timeshare, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah, you could get
And
the most
everyone's
value out
worried.
of him right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody knows what's going to happen. Oh, or you get to keep the job, and Isaiah Pacheco could be like not be ready, and they hold out and keep Kareem Hunt running. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think it's a good time to move on him. That's why there's so many trades going on because people are buying and wanting to hold on to him, see what they got, and other people are just like, okay, I got the peak out of him. Let's get him. Let's move. And I think if you have him, you should probably move on him.
There you go. One name I kind of mentioned. He was one of my honorable mentions for a buy, but I don't think he's a buy low. I think he's almost a buy high. Tyrone Tracy Jr. We haven't really talked too much on him. I know you usually don't like, really any Giants players, but this guy's kind of come out and almost like a baby Barkley, if you will. Kind of just putting the team on his back, and at least for fantasy purposes, has been producing as a high end
Yeah,
RB2, sometimes a low end RB1. What are your thoughts on Tyrone Tracy, buy, sell, or hold? I
I
guess
think
not
if you got
your
him,
thoughts. It's supposed to be a quick take, buy, sell, or hold, but you know how it
I would
goes.
probably just hold. Honestly, see what you got with him.
There you go. All right. So a couple other names on here, and I'll try to go quicker myself, but I wanted to really talk, kind of get a little extra on those names. Tyreek Hill, buy, sell, or hold Tyreek Hill.
I don't think you could get much if you sell him. I think it would hold him. It would hold him.
All right. What about Nick Chubb? How you feeling about Nick Chubb?
Nick Chubb's a sell at this point. I just don't think
I'm with you.
he's coming back with anything.
Yeah, I agree. If you can get anything out of him, include him in a deal, then do it. DeAndre Hopkins kind of had a decent game, dud game, kind of hot and cold. How you feeling about DeAndre Hopkins?
Um, I'd
Yeah, in
buy. I
Kansas.
mean, I wouldn't get a lot of him. You know what I mean? Like, but and if I had him, I could try to sell. You know what I mean? It's kind of like one of those things that you're not going to get so much, but I mean, you kind of want to put him in the lineup as a flex just to see what happens because he is on a good offense. And any time they could just like literally go, 2 touchdown game. Here he goes again, right? And that's
Mhm.
what you're hoping for. It's like a boom or bust player right now. So,
Okay.
I mean, if you want him, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I think he's in a position where you could just sell him and get something for him, and that people would buy it. And he's a player definitely on the move, right?
There you go. Yeah, yeah. He almost fits any category if it's the right price, for buying or selling.
Yeah.
And if not, just hold him. It didn't really cost you much, and if you're in a spot, you can play him. CD Lamb. I mean, you guys heard my take, but just your quick, you buy and selling or holding on CD Lamb.
I'm also selling. Just not sure who's going to be quarterbacking for him, how successful they will be with him. They obviously do target him, but I mean, the quality of the targets are a lot less. You can see he's frustrated when they're throwing him the ball, and it's like I had it. He was wide open, and one of them was like, all you had to do was get him the ball. Like literally, couldn't even do that. It was like literally, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't a
Just
difficult
behind
pass.
him,
He
yeah,
was
that
wide
one where
open.
he
It was
rolled his
yeah.
eyes. Yeah,
And he's
that
like,
was tough.
"Really? Come on." Yeah, it's tough, man. So, I
Yeah,
mean, that's the frustration that he's going to be dealing with Dak gone and out. We'll see what happens if Trey Lance gets a shot and he actually can ball out. So, I mean, that's basically your hope, that somebody actually starts getting better for him. But,
there
you know, yeah, it's a
there you go.
sell.
Buy, sell, or hold Marvin Harrison Jr.
I'm
for you.
buying. I'm
All
buying.
right.
Definitely. Like, I just want to see what he's got. I have him in 1 or 2 teams, and I think it's going to be better days ahead, as you mentioned. Late breakout has a great opportunity.
Buy, sell, or hold Debo Samuel.
I think you're holding Debo now that he's back healthy. I mean, there's an opportunity, but I think that you could, if you try, you could probably sell him high on him because um, really the production's not been there that much. You know what I mean? Like not as much as last year. So and McCaffrey's back, so I think he's gonna, obviously start taking more and more away from basically everybody. Right?
Speaking of which, Christian McCaffrey, quick buy, sell, or hold on him.
Um,
I'm gonna
I would-
rapid fire now.
I would buy. I would just
Buy
buy
and
and
see.
hold, buy and
All
hold.
right.
You know what I mean? Like you can't go wrong with him.
Jameson
They've been
Williams.
holding out to make sure he's healthy. They took a long time to bring him back out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
We haven't really
I
talked
feel
CMC,
confident
but
now.
yeah, for sure. All right, Jameson Williams, buy, sell, or hold.
Jameson Williams, Jamo, I'm buying. I'm buying Jamo. I regret
All
not
right.
keeping him as a keeper.
And
Biggest
last
regret
one,
ever.
Joe Mixon, buy, sell, or hold Joe Mixon. He's
Oh
been
shit,
kind
you
of the
gotta
big
buy,
talk.
man, if you can, dude. Like he's like the number 2 running back. It
I
really
think
is.
I'd try to sell high, man, after this 3-touchdown game, and he has the hardest strengths of schedule, but that may not matter for the RB1. So,
I'm telling you, I don't think it matters. I'm
all right,
buying.
there you go. All right, we'll end with that. Actually, buy, sell, or hold Chuba Hubbard with Brooks coming
Chuba?
back. I'm holding.
I'd hold.
Yeah, I'm holding.
Just
I
because
actually buy.
he's
If I
coming
can
back.
buy low, someone's panicking, I'd buy low. Or if
Yeah,
they dropped
yeah,
him, I'm
exactly.
picking him up.
Because like really,
He already said he's playing behind him, so
yeah.
we'll see. And Miles Sanders isn't there, so I'll probably just take those Miles Sanders touches because Miles Sanders has been playing. Chuba's still been producing, so there you go.
Right.
All right, so we'll end there. There's a couple other names on here, of course, we can get into, but I think that kind of gave the folks some good stuff there. So let's get to our favorite part here of the show. We don't have too many questions here tonight. I didn't really expect too many because a lot of folks trade deadlines has passed, but we appreciate you guys who've been hanging out here with us anyway, just talking some football. So that's why I like kind of going on some of those tangents anyway, because not everybody's really can just talk strictly trades. Just kind of nice to talk football overall. But Joe Kinsley in here saying he's 7-4 in a 3-keeper league. If I wasn't a legit contender, I would seriously trade McCaffrey for a younger long-term keeper. Do I sit tight and hope CMC gets me another championship this year? So I'll give this one to you because I have a pretty simple answer for this one.
It's a yes. You hold them.
What are you trying to do? Like, oh, I thought you were gonna go quick too. I was like, for me, it's like, what else are you trying to do? Like, you're playing for this year. Like next year doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, especially it's not dynasty. Like, yeah, it's just 3-keeper. Like, it's easy to kind of, you have plenty of guys to kind of replenish your team. You have your core 3. It's easy to turn over a core 3 versus a whole roster turn where you have to be a little bit more. But yeah, to me, you go for it this year, man. And he's the guy. I mean, he's a cheat code. Like, he should still be good. So, did you have more of a take? My bad. I thought mine was going to be shorter. No,
that's simple. Just keep him. Like, because he's saying I would surely trade him off for a younger long-term keeper.
Right.
So, in your keeper, do they move up, or you guys just like literally have 3 keepers? Because in our keeper league, the guy keeps moving up every year that you drop them. So at some point, he becomes a non-keeper for you.
1-round penalty. Yeah, keeper with a 1-round penalty.
And they might have their keepers just like they're locked in, and that's who they have as a keeper. Either way, I would still keep CMC the known, then go for the unknown, regardless.
Right. I mean, unless you're trading him in for like a, unless you're getting like a Bijan or a Brees or something like that, a Gibbs.
You have to get
right?
like both of them.
Yeah, Ken Walker. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, like something like that.
2 of them.
Yeah. You got to get something like that. Yeah. And another piece. So, but good stuff. Appreciate it, Joe. Appreciate your participation here in the show, man. We love you stopping by. Any other questions, comments, man, let us know. And again, make sure if you guys are watching new with us, hit that like and subscribe button for us if you haven't already. And we'll take your live questions here for the next couple minutes. So we have Bronson, Heyo in here. How trade London and Tua for Amon-Ra? That's an easy yes for me.
Yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Go get the Sun God, man. The Sun God. Coming off 38-point game, and all you have to do is give up London, who's on a bye week, and Tua, who's basically one of like 5 that you can find on the waiver wire.
Wasn't London had the injury just recently?
He had a little hip injury, but he played, and he actually did decent against Denver. So, but
you're not giving them too much to get like the number 1 wide receiver.
That's a steal, man. If you can make that happen, go get Amon-Ra. So
Look, he just comes up with a backup. He says, "I just traded Mahomes, Bucky, and Brian Thomas for Mixon and Russ." Like it. I like it.
yeah.
Other QBs are Tua,
Oh
May,
gosh.
and Gino.
And if you
With
do this
wide
other
receivers
trade,
Chase, London, Debo, Terry, Ladd. My only running back is Jacobs. 2 QB, 3 flex, and 10 PPR. So yeah, I would do that. I'd go
yeah, I
get
would go
Amon
get
Ra.
Amon Ra for sure. And then now maybe
Because
you
now you
can
got Mixon
trade.
and Jacobs,
Yeah.
and then
Mixon again, I was talking about. He has a tough schedule, which is probably why this person was willing to move him for Bucky, because Bucky was actually one of my other honorable mention buys, just like kind of like a lower tier, because they have a crazy matchup, which is why I'm trying to buy Mike Evans, because they get like Carolina and the week 17 and stuff like that. So it should be a nice game. It's a division game, so they're gonna put it on them. And especially if Mike Evans needs those, trying to hit that 1,000 yards, that could be like a 200-yard game. He's good for one of those every year.
yeah, right. Where he goes
He
off.
always gets money, and like 2 or 3 touchdowns. So it's coming, guys. It's coming. But yeah, man, Bronson, man, I like these trades that you're doing here. If I would just kind of continue to work on Mixon, if I could flip Mixon, again, coming off that 3-touchdown game, if you could potentially flip him for someone else.
He's thinking
Yeah,
Bijan and
I mean, I
Brees.
would do it. Yeah, like if you can go get Brees, like again, if the Brees guy needs someone this week, and you could just get by this 1 week. You didn't say what place you're in, but yeah, that could, you can let us know offline, man, and we'll help you out there.
Yeah, dude, that offense is going through him and Kamara. So
Yeah, as far as running backs go, yeah.
Yeah, no, I like it. Go
Good
get it
stuff.
done.
All right, man. Yeah, go ahead.
Jelly of the month.
What's up, Jelly of the month?
Doing waivers, PPR, have Otten and Kraft, drop Kraft and snag Taysom Hill and play matchups.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't mind holding 2, because of course Hill's out this week, but yeah, you just throw Otten in there. He should still be good. It's going to be him and Mike Evans getting the targets there. And yeah, man, you can maybe throw Hill in there, just kind of have him, just kind of play your matchups, leading in. It's tough to play matchups with Hill. So like I'd probably just ride with Otten, but you don't want to play against Hill. So I'd rather just keep him and play a little keep away, so to speak. And if anything were to happen to Otten, you have Taysom to go to. So you'll feel good about that.
Yeah.
Instead of like having to
I think
grab
he's probably
Shoemaker.
maybe got another decent game in him. He's always been like on the streaky kind of guy. And even though
like
this
2
was like a
games and
big
then
blowout, he'll get like 2
Yeah.
games and then like just disappear for a little while, and then he'll pop back up again. He just happens to be that way. Sometimes it's the schedule or just what happens.
That's what you
But I
call
think
boom
you're going to
or
start
bust.
using him more as running back because Kamara's just not been producing that much this year. Like literally short runs, this and that. He's still,
He's doing so. He's like the leading receiver. That's why. Yes,
Yeah.
they're all like he had to step up and be the receiver. Now he'll step in, and they have no backups. Jamal Williams is on IR or out, and Kendre Miller's on IR. So there's he's literally the RB2. So they're gonna work packages in for him, and he usually gets those high value touches. So I like having him in there, man.
Yeah.
I might even have him over Otten in a couple weeks. Just keep sticking with us, Jelly of the month, and we'll let you know where we have him ranked each week. Oh yeah, we already got to that. You want to read Victor's? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. That's a whole mouthful right
All
there.
right.
That one.
So he says, I have Josh
breathe?
Allen. Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
I was about to take a sip, but I'll get into this one. I'll throw it to you. So he says, I have Josh Allen, Bo Nix, Kim Walker, Josh Jacobs, Rashad White. I like that running back room. Oh, and I assume we're going to receivers now. So that's Jamar Chase, Sutton, MHJ, Juwan Jennings. Let's go. D-Hop and Kelsey. He got offered Malik and Brees for K9, MHJ and Hopkins. Brees and Malik for Walker, Harrison Jr. Ooh. I would try to counter and maybe upgrade him to Sutton and try to get K9 out of that deal, because you want to end up with Brees, Malik, and K9. So I don't mind giving up Marvin Harrison because you're getting Malik back. He should be decent even with DeVito. I prefer Marvin Harrison, though. Believe me, I prefer Marvin Harrison. But if I can pair up and get Brees and K9, like if you can swap out K9 for Josh Jacobs in that deal and maybe upgrade Sutton to Hopkins, I would do it for that deal. Because now you're going to roll out Jamar, Malik, Jennings, and you'll have Hopkins still. So I don't mind that wide receiver core, especially if you're running Brees and Ken Walker at your running back. What do you think?
I like the Brees part. I don't like the Malik part. I'm not trusting Danny DeVito over there. I like what you were talking about, removing Ken Walker from that. Because you're really moving Mark Harrison Jr., so you need to get somebody back in return. I know that they're probably looking at as Malik, like, oh yeah, he's been, but he hasn't been great at least last couple games, and you can see it because of quarterback play. You don't know what you're going to get over here with Danny DeVito. So I know that's not his name, but that's what I call him. Teach you to go with it.
No, I know it was all last year we were doing it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not bringing on Malik. I do like the Brees part, and I think that you have to give something like this up. And I would probably maybe just practice Jacobs and Hopkins and go for Brees or even MHJ and Jacobs for Brees and see what he says, and then just do that part. That way you can get Brees Hall on your team, and you'll be better off that way doing that, but not bringing on Malik.
Yeah, maybe find out what other wide receiver he has. Maybe that isn't as big of a name as Malik, but might be a little better producer. I would have thought Jennings would have been kind of one of those sneaky little names that maybe you sneak in with Brees.
Jennings. I have Jennings.
Yeah, but that's why I feel a little more comfortable with him getting rid of MHJ and taking on that risk with Neighbors.
Yeah,
there.
Start Jennings. I'm starting Jennings going out
for sure.
Out. Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, he'll probably be like top 13, 4, like especially this week with all the teams on a bye. So yeah.
Just care for the week. We could play Rashad White over K9 and Malik over MSJ.
Oh yeah, because Brees is on a bye. That's why.
And that's another bad part.
Well, this is what we were talking about. Like, this is how and why you can get Brees. Like, that's why he was my number one target right now, because he's on a bye. People might need to win right now. So they need to get people who are playing this week, and they're just trying to get, equal or somewhat better value. I mean, he's trying to get K9 because it's kind of a lateral, move, but you're eating this week. So it depends on your record as well, too. But yeah, if you can swap out Jacobs and focus maybe just on Brees and go, just say, look, I'm not too interested in Malik, but I'm interested in Brees. I can't do K9, but I got Jacobs, Marvin Harrison Jr., can that be the core? Like, how do we build that out from there? And kind of work it from there.
Even giving the Hopkins.
Would you do Brees for just Jacobs and Marvin Harrison together? Like, I need to know who his other wide receivers are. Like, I'd want another wide receiver.
We need to know the other side.
Yeah, I don't mind giving up Marvin Harrison, but if it was 2 for 1, like if you could go like Jacobs and Sutton for just Brees, or even if honestly, bro, like I wouldn't mind doing Sutton, Hopkins, and Jacobs for just Brees. I would just kind of do that because you could probably, again, you have Jamar, and you just maybe pick again if you have the record to where you can eat that for a week. Again, I don't know if it's start 2 or 3 wide receiver and a flex. It might get interesting there with just some of the bye weeks, but that's where I'd kind of take that trade. So good stuff, man. Yeah. Oh God, I hate that we're on trade deadline, man. I love talking trades. Love talking trades.
As you can tell.
Talking trades.
As you can tell.
Yeah, start geeking out on them. Like, oh, you could do this, do that, man. Victor, you gotta hit me up, man. Let me know. Send me screenshots. It's in our description, man. You can.
No, he's involved.
On Sleeper. I feel involved in this. I'm gonna help you get Brees Hall with K9 to roll into your playoffs with, man. We're gonna make this happen. So hit me up on Sleeper, hit me up on a DM, send me a screenshot of that dude's team, and we'll put a package together that this guy can't refuse.
He's willing and dealing.
Yeah, I want to make this happen for you, my guy. I'm invested. All right. So with that said, man, you want to tell him real quick about our boys over at trophysmack.com.
Yeah.
I'll throw you into
Trophy
that read.
Smack is our
cool?
people right here. They're the guys that give us the rings, the Kirk Cousins chains, my favorites, the belts, and the trophies here. Anthony's got a ring himself that we won here this last year. It's only adds $7 more to your league. So all you got to do is do the code Get Right. There it is, Trophy Smack. It's a nice ring, man. That thing's it's just a box. Where's the ring?
Oh, it's in there.
Oh, it's in there. So yeah, you got to check them out. Go to trophysmack.com, type in code Get Right, support the channel. It's now's a good time to start looking into it. Put it up to your league mates. Say, we're gonna add a belt or something or some swag to it, or even to just buy it for yourself to show off your fantasy wins, man. Wouldn't it be cool to walk around and be like Brady with like a bunch of rings like that? I personally like going out to like events and things like that and just carry our belts around. And then people
I'm
always
so
ask,
sad.
what's going on with that? Especially when it's the beginning of the NFL season or later on at Super Bowl time and you're running around with your fantasy league belt, fantasy championship belt. You're looking pimping at a party, man. I'm telling you.
Show
So
up to
go
your Super
get
Bowl
out.
party with your championship
Yeah,
belt. Let's go.
exactly. Exactly, dude. That's how you show up, man. Trophysmack.com, code Get Right. Go give them a shot. Help support the channel.
For sure. Well done. Well done. All right. And of course, make sure you guys subscribe and like our affiliate channels links as well. The links are down in the description. So go through them a sub as well. Help them grow, help support our other shows here because they're working hard, bringing you guys content throughout the week. And again, like we said, 7 live shows. Here's the lineup again. And this doesn't even include the Saturday show that we just added. And that's the Sweet Life with Jack and Cody. So make sure you guys go check that out. And we appreciate you, man. Frank, you got anything else you want to end with here? This will be your last time
Good
on.
luck on this week, man. Let's see how
Yeah.
this game goes out tomorrow, the snow game. And best of luck to you guys as we head into almost the playoff time. We're at crunch time now.
Right there, man. 3 more games left. That's it. 3 games left. All right, man. So from all of us here, man, at Get Right Fantasy, we appreciate you, of course, for Dustin, for Classic Mike, for Tycoon, for our boys Kendall and Phil, and of course my boy here, Frank. Man, appreciate you spending your Wednesday here with me and all of us here. So yeah, man, we'll see you guys next week. Good luck.
Wanted to white fantasy is the play. Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go